Why, thank you, Bill. So I will be your presiding officer for the day, filling in for Jim Kearney, who unfortunately cannot make it. So welcome everyone to the DTM Club. I'm anticipating a really fun and high-powered evening. For your inspiration, I have a quote from Robert F. Kennedy. Some men see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things that never were and ask why not. Um, and I would now like to move on to our club mission. The mission of a Toastmaster Club is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And let me see, it looks as though we do not have any guests for the evening. And so, with that, I would like to introduce our Toastmaster for the evening, who will be Sherry Morrow.
Good evening, good evening. Our theme tonight is elections. Although I will say, I think it would be best if we put off officer elections until we have even a quorum, because I don't think we even have a quorum tonight. And then, Gavin, we might want to put officer elections on the agenda specifically, maybe for our next meeting.
Yes, I will make note of that.
And then the only challenge with that is that we won't have officer roles identified for the early bird training, which could pose a challenge. We won't be able to technically send people to early bird training with the intent of putting them in a role, but let's talk about that later, I guess.
Um, yeah, I was gonna reach out to Jim about it and see what he thought.
Okay. Maybe we can do something by vote by proxy or something. See what Jim's thoughts
By the
are on
way,
that.
how's Jim doing anyway? You talk to Jim?
Yeah, he's doing okay. Some of his stuff got stolen. Um, and I think he said he wished he could come tonight, but he has some family issues.
Medically, is he feeling better?
Yes,
So it's more a challenge with technical access than anything.
I think so. And I guess I could ask him. I call him up every Monday, and I could ask him, if he's planning on coming in June.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Send
Thanks,
him our
Gavin.
best wishes.
Yeah, for sure.
I will do.
All right. Well, looking at our roles, it looks like we have two speakers. We've got Bill, who's going to do a 10 to 15 minute presentation that includes a 5 to 7 minute speech and a demonstration. So how are you going to want that timed, Bill?
I think the thing to do is to give me a 5, 6, 7,
Okay.
and then start over again a 5, 6, 8 or similar.
Okay. So
We could start over again. Yeah, that would work.
5, 6, 7, and then 5, 6, 8.
Yeah, or 6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8. Okay. 5, 6,
Yeah,
7, and 6, 7, 8.
yeah, that would work. Are you going to serve as timer?
I'll be the timer, and I've got the standard green, red, yellow
Oh,
backgrounds.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Ying Ming, you are doing looking for the time 8 to 10 minutes, so 8, 9, 10 for your speech. And then we don't have evaluators. We have a general evaluator, Gavin. And then we had planned on doing a round robin evaluation for Bill. I wonder, Gavin, what are your thoughts on just doing 2 round robin evaluations tonight?
I really like that idea.
Okay, given the limitations of our numbers, you could facilitate 2 round robins.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And then you'll close out with the general evaluation. And it says officers meeting, but I'm thinking that will be pushed out.
Yes, but what I do need to do before the end of the meeting is ask all 3 of you what you want your role to be for next time.
Okay, we can plan for that. For the June meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. All right, with that, I am going to introduce our first speaker. So Bill Jones is working on his presentation mastery pathway, currently level 4. His project is managing a difficult audience. This project is called How to Measure Soil pH Correctly. He's going to be speaking on the subject of how to measure soil pH. It's a 10 to 15 minute presentation, which includes a 5 to 7 minute speech and then a short PowerPoint presentation, followed by a demo of the correct pH measurement procedure. Please welcome William Jones speaking on how to measure soil pH correctly. How to measure soil pH correctly, William Jones.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sherry. I appreciate this. As you can see, I have an array of items on the table. I'm going to go directly to my PowerPoint presentation because that will explain the background of what is soil pH and why it's important. Let me see if I can figure this out. I want to, let me look. Oh, wait a minute. I want to share. There we are. Can everyone see this this PowerPoint presentation?
There you go.
Very good. All right. These are the kinds of things I think about a lot. I do this often in my daily activities. In terms of why soil pH is important, it has to do with the efficiency we can enjoy in producing crops. I listed a few of the items here. Nutrient availability is important. Varying soil pHs will support some plants and will restrict the growth of other plants. And that is an impediment for many growers who, my classic example for this would be growing blueberries in California. Blueberries are an ericaceous crop, part of the heath family. They very much enjoy an acid pH soil, strongly acid, below 5 or similar. And we have no soils in California that are
Berries are what kind of crop? You said they're an
ericaceous
Oh,
crop.
yeah.
Ericaceous.
Yeah, they're an ericaceous
Word I
crop.
hadn't heard before.
And
Oh, I
they
hadn't heard it
require
either,
a strongly
Sherry.
acid soil pH. So other items that conclude, we can have soils that have toxic constituents in them. A correct soil pH favors a desirable microbial activity, and soil structure is affected. Not just texture, but the structure of soils can be altered with changes in pH. And as I mentioned a moment ago about blueberries, crop selection is important. Every crop has a sweet spot, and we like to enjoy that sweet spot for the crop of interest.
Sweet spot. I like that. Sweet spot.
So
Yeah.
here's an example. let me move this out of the way if I can. Yeah. Here's the soil pH scale. Look at battery acid at pH 0, vinegar and coffee, and also Coca-Cola beverage are pH 3. Our stomach acid is about pH 1.5. Rainwater is somewhere in the range of 5.5 to 6.5, depending on the location in the country or the world. Pure water is 7 if there's no ions in it. Seawater is alkaline, about 8.5 or so. Milk of magnesia is 9.5. And household bleach is 12.5.
Now, what
Gives
is
you an
sodium
idea what different
hydroxide?
substances have. Yeah, don't drink bleach. That's not a good idea.
I thought bleach was sodium hydroxide. They're not the same?
Sodium hydroxide is different from bleach. Bleach is sodium hypochlorite, and sodium hydroxide is a different material.
Okay.
So this is important. We measure this, and I'm going to describe that in a little more detail in a moment. But for growing crops, right here around 6 or so, 6.5 is ideal for the great majority of crops. 5 would be more appropriate for the blueberry venue and other crops like rhododendrons or azaleas in an ornamental landscape or similar. But these are things that we take into consideration when we're planning plantings. So this is a useful thing to keep in mind. I'm going to move this these photographs, or I'll leave that like it is. So here we have another way of looking at it. Alkaline is certainly in the 9 range. I perhaps disagree with this neutral being 8. I think that's a little too high, but certainly 6 and 7 are all right.
That's
And
what I
then
thought
acidic
too.
would be definitely 5. So that's another way of looking at it. This describes nutrient availability for nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, sulfur, magnesium, all the microelements. Notice that these bars narrow down at the extreme edges of the pH range, except perhaps for boron, which increases when it gets really alkaline. This is something we kind of put to memory. Iron is one that really gets restricted in high pHs. And these are important too, because we need to know what kind of forms of nutrient elements we need to apply with a given pH. So all of the red or yellow are acidic, and all of the green and blue, more to the point, are basic. So the soil pH procedure, that includes beginning with soil. I have here a screen sample of soil. I've weighed this out and screened it. I use this sieve to screen. I made this myself many years ago. I've made several. They don't wear out. I take care of them. You need pH buffer solutions, pH 4.1 and 7.0, and a properly calibrated pH meter. Some tools like a trowel and a spatula. And then I have a squeeze bottle here, which I'll demonstrate in a little while. It's important to saturate the soil. I have a sample of this same soil that is now saturated, and I'll describe that to you in a moment. You need to calibrate this pH meter correctly with your pH buffer solutions before you begin. And then we can proceed with the demonstration of how this goes ahead. Interpreting results is important. And as I described, 6.5 is good for many crops, a little more acid for ericaceous crops. And this is how you use the information. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And very good. Thank you, Sherry. So as I said a moment ago, I have a soil sample here. This is the same soil in this one, except This has been saturated with DI water, deionized water, water that has no minerals in it. And when I say desaturated, what I mean is that the entire pore space of this sample is full of water. I can
Is deionized water pH at 7?
uh, pure water is pH 7. Water can be a little slightly acid, but all soils are buffered. And if it's in that range with very little minerals in it, it'll be just fine. You could also use distilled water, but DI water is a standard thing. You can also use, frankly, store-bought purified water that people use for drinking. It is also slightly acid, but as I said, that because it's got such a low mineral content, it will not overcome the buffering of the soil sample that you have in most cases. So we have this saturated sample. It's of interest to me that when I was 7 or 8 years old, I was fascinated with making mud pies. And I would make mud pies just for the fun of it. Now I get paid to do this. I make mud pies for a living, and you can see perhaps how this looks. It's very plastic, it's open, it's a mud pie. That's what it is. So I'm going to take this pH meter. One of the important things that we know, this pH meter has a glass bulb in the bottom of it. That glass bulb is very fragile. So for that reason, I mentioned this sieve that I made. We want to take all the stones and things out of the sample because we're going to stick this pH meter directly into the slurry. And we'll go ahead and measure this. And it takes a little bit of time, and I like to move this around a little bit. And it's decreasing in pH. It started out pretty high at about 8.3, and it's down now about 7.9.
How do you know when it's done? Does it beep?
No, it turns off. The illumination turns off.
Oh,
And
okay.
then what I can do is I can hold it. Let me do this. I have it held, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but it says 7.7.
Yep, we can.
Oh, yeah.
So that is the pH of this soil. And now what I do is I take my squeeze bottle and I clean this thing off right away because these are not inexpensive. I generally don't keep this in the car. I keep my electrical conductivity meter in the car. I use it more often. But pH meters are fragile and they wear out. About the best you can hope for is about a year of service. Sometimes if in the summertime I forget to take it out of the car, it'll cook and it'll be over with and I'll have to buy another one. And they're the good ones, field monitors like this are generally in the range of $600 or so. Some of the even better ones can be $1,000. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend $600 every 6 months.
Yikes.
So we now know that this is a pH 7.9 or 7.7, I should say. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned the fact that you should have a login sheet. And what you always do when you measure, 7.7 is pH equals 7.7.
How do
Now
you
you have it recorded. What?
How do you calibrate it?
Calibration's another speech. But
Okay.
basically you use these two buffers. What you'll do is you'll start with your DI water. You will see what the indicator is. You'll have a cup like this with a yellow buffer solution. And instead of pressing on, you'll press calibrate. And you will allow that to adjust to pH 7. And then you rinse it off in this DI water. and then select another cup, a different cup that has a different colored pH buffer 4.01, and measure that, and it should come close to 4.01, and you press cal, and then you're ready to go. There is a third step you can do for pH 10, but I rarely do it. It's not necessary in most natural soils. It is an opportunity to make certain that what I do, one of my rituals is that I calibrate my pH meter and my conductivity meter every Sunday morning, every week. And then I go through the week if I'm out in the field, particularly in spring and summer, and I know that I'm going to be perfectly fine. I do not like to be uncertain about the measurement. Now, having said that, it can be the case the pH that I measure with this device may be different. The result may be different from what the laboratory gets when I send a sample into the lab. If it's a tenth or 2/10 of a pH unit difference, I don't worry about it. I won't grow gray hair over that. That's perfectly close enough for the work we need. If it's a whole pH unit over, then I go back to the sample and retest. And that's the reason that we need to know what that is. It's one of the basic tests that we all do in soil science. If we do not have an idea of what that is, we can make some pretty serious errors in managing soil fertility. I found when I emigrated to Colombia, South America years ago, I couldn't believe it. I was taking a sample of soil. It was a black, dark, organic soil, natively organic, and the pH was 4.0. And I said, something's wrong here. You can't, why would you have a pH 4.0? As it happens, it is a pH 4.0. And I had to do another test called a lime requirement, where we determine how much agricultural lime or calcium carbonate we would apply to a hectare or an acre of soil. Turned out to be typical rates of 2 or 3 tons per acre. This particular soil required 20 tons. And I told my boss about that, and he says, well, that's what it takes. Go try to sell that to the people. Go sell that to the clients. And everybody in Colombia told me I was nuts. You can jump on, you can go to the moon. We're not going to listen to that. Except one guy. One guy said, why do you say 20 tons? Because that's what's required to bring it up to 6.4, which will allow cut flower crops like roses and carnations and so forth to prosper. Thank you for your attention.
That was great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I had an audience.
All right, let me write this time down and then we will move
So
on.
quick one. So Bill, why was the reason in over there? Was it because some acid leaking from the underneath or
What
what?
is your question, Ying
How
Yang?
can how can a bunch of soil is pH 4? I never heard that.
Well, the reason the pH was 4 was because in that part of the world, in the savanna of Bogota, in prehistoric times, during the Carbonaceous period, a whole lot of tropical plants grew there, and it rained quite a lot. And then the climate changed, and the Andes were pushed up by geologic activity. It was flat before, it was, more or less marine in a way. And then the Andes got raised up by geologic processes, and that lake that existed there was drained. And that all of that material decomposed and formed a soil, a very rare soil, frankly, absolutely useful and fertile for growing cut flowers. When we combine that favored soil with the favored climate they have in that part of the world, they're second in the world in growing cut flowers for export.
Wow.
And there was a man by the name of David Cheever who did a PhD or a master's degree thesis, I believe it was, when he was doing his graduate student work, and he identified two places in the world where this occurred. One was in the savannah of Bogota, in the country of Colombia, and the other was in Kenya. And he actually emigrated to Colombia, and I got to meet him, and we did quite a bit of work together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Good question.
All right. Well, let's move on to our second speaker of the evening. Yingming Li is presenting out of the Presentation Mastery Pathway, Level 1, Speech with a Purpose, 8 to 10 minutes, my bad. And it is the cultural impact on communication. Originally from Taiwan, he moved to Ridgecrest more than 16 years ago. I can almost tell his story without reading his bio. He moved to Ridgecrest more than 16 years ago through Texas, Montana, Sacramento, and LA. He's married with 2 children, also 2 lovely granddaughters in Montana, and he's planning to visit them this month. When do you leave on your trip?
Right on the Memorial Weekend.
You're like, peace out, homie. And he's going to be talking about how to be an effective leader when you have to when you get to deal with people from different cultures. Please welcome Yingming Li, Cultural Impact on Communication. Cultural Impact on Communication, Yingming Li.
As such that we are in the melting pot. So we have people from all over the country, all over the world coming to our place. So when you start dealing with other people, especially if you work-wise, you have to deal with other people, it's nice to even know the culture in the sense of how they handle things, how they grow up, how do they do things differently. You'll be able to appreciate that, understand them. You will be able to work with them much better. So there was a book written by, I think it's Dr. Lewis, talk about this. So the idea is really figured out. Now let me do this. I'll give you some idea. I'll show you the book itself. So Bill, you can write it down. I know Bill
Thank
was
you.
hold on a second. Okay. So by Richard D. Lewis, When Culture Collide. Okay, this is the current book look like. Bill, take a look at that.
Ah,
How you're leading across the culture. Because sometimes we forget about that. Capturing the right race and influence and seismic changes throughout many regions of the world. Cross-cultural expert and international businessman is Richard Lewis. Talk about this. So why the differences between different people handle things differently. So this just give you a little quick look of that. So next time when you're dealing with somebody, let's say I have to deal with somebody from Colombia, or I have to deal with somebody from Japan. How about people from India? How about people from Italy? There are different culture on how the way they do things. So if you understand that, you can appreciate that, be able to handle that much better. So think about this from the different things. He went to different places, Europe and everything else. He started putting this called the Lewis model. I'll show you a picture toward the end. That give you some identical, something to identify all the different people. How do they think? This is very interesting when I look at this book. Different languages, different words, cultural conditioning. How do we manage that? Okay, for German and Finlanders, the truth is the truth. In Japan and Britain, it's all right if it does not rock the boat. In China, there's no absolute truth. In Italy, it's always negotiable. Did you know that? Sometimes you didn't really realize that. So the point is to figure it out. So if you work with German, the truth is always truth. But if you deal with Chinese, the truth can be negotiated. Now, Italy could be different. Okay, So please pay attention. Remember that things can be interpreted in a different way. For example, the contract, how you handle contract. How about ethics? What is ethic in different culture? How about when they keep quiet? What's that mean? The silence means what? If you can handle that, it's much better. I think Sherry might have to handle if you got some immigrant kids coming into your school, you kind of have to figure it out. I don't know what Gavin, I think you're the manager doing something. So you deal with people coming to work with you. You start paying attention to those areas because sometimes that's what we miss. We got taught on the leadership skill set, but not everything can be applied to different culture. You have to adjust that, adapt it. So there's three different kinds. One called linear actives, then the multi-actives and reactive. So those are three pretty quick. It's called a cultural conditioning. That's when they grow up, they got a conditioner. The linear active, those who plan, schedule, organize, purse, action chance, do one thing at a time. German or Swiss are in this group. They can only handle one thing at one time. Multi-actives can do many things at once, planning their priority not according to the time schedule, but according to the relative thrill or importance that each appointment brings to it. Italian, Latin Americans, Arabics are the members of this group. So Bill, you had to handle that when you go to Columbia. Yeah, they do multi-actives. They can do a bunch of things at the same time. So you have to understand that. Reactives prioritize courtesy and respect. They listening quietly and calmly to their group and reaction carefully to other side's proposal. Chinese, Japanese, things are in this group. So when you talk to them, they listen. They don't jump in. They don't do other things because they have a courtesy. They will do the reactive things on that. So when you deal with them, you need to understand that. By focus on the cultural roots of national behavior, both in society and business, we can foresee and calculate with surprising degrees of accuracy and how others will react to our plans for them. So if you're going to do a proposal, when you handle that, you look at the reaction, you can know what's going on. And in the case, if you have to deal with certain people from China, you have to anticipate different kind of reaction compared to if you handle dealing with somebody from Italy. So in this case, we'll be able to interact with people in a different culture. We'll be able to handle them much better that way. Okay, this way I'm going to sit here until I see the green. Let you read it. Top is multi-active. The blue is linear active. Yellow is reactive. Okay, look at reactive. We got Vietnam, China, Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea in that area. The most Asian countries, they respect people. They don't say anything. They always react to what they're about. If you go up to there, I see Brazil. It didn't say Colombia. It must be close enough. And Chile, and Hispanic American, Argentina, Mexico, Italy, Portuguese, Spain. Those are the ones multi-active. They handle things differently. Remember, we talked about that. And if you go toward the blue side, that's how the American culture comes in. United States, German, Switzerland, they only do one thing at one time. So I'm assuming, since Bill, I got a quick question for you. So Bill, you've been to Colombia. Is that what we're talking about correct?
This is fascinating to me, and you are correct. They can have every possible activity, one for each finger of their hands and all 10 toes. And it's distracting to someone like myself. Basically, the best way that I found to manage it was to take it as it comes.
Yep.
Take it as it comes. I wasn't going to change them. So
but I understand that. So you don't want to be offensive to them. You kind of understand that. Now, when you deal with somebody from China or Japan, that would be totally different. Sherry, have you had a chance to deal with the people from Asia?
I deal with people. So a lot of my students are Hispanic
Oh, so
or
it's a tough one.
yeah,
More technical.
or I have a lot of Southeast Asian students,
Okay.
which would be more
More
of
reactive.
yeah,
Reactive.
reactive side, and also African American, but I feel like they're more just United States in general because there's so many generations down.
Yep. If they are, then they'll be more linear active. Yeah.
Fascinating to me. I'm totally sucked into this conversation.
How about Gavin? How's your experiences?
Um, I just am learning so much from this presentation. And when I was in high school, I went on a 2 week trip to Japan. That was very formative for me. And so first on the Lewis model, I looked for the United States, and then I saw Japan on the right-hand side, and I just am curious to learn more, and I might end up Googling the Lewis model after.
Now, you remember, if you were in Japan on the subways, you do not talk, period. You cannot talk, otherwise they kick you out because that's where their culture is. And you do not see any, I mean, it's just totally different. So think about this. I want you to getting the grab of the cultural diversity. With different languages, different words, you can manage them much better. Let me show you something here. So this is a book, if you want to pick it up. If you want to pick this one up, this will give you some ideas about it. It's pretty
Yeah,
thick, by the way. They
yeah.
actually, I read it through. It was pretty thick, and and it's just mind blowing. Let's put it this way. So anyway, so that ends my speech. Let you think about it. See, today is food for thought. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Ying Ming.
That was amazing. Thank you. I've so much to chew on right now. I feel like a cow chewing my cud. I'm gonna be stuck on this one for a while. Thank you. How big is the book? You said it's a fat one.
Oh, let me grab one, the earlier copy for you to see. Okay,
Oh, gracious.
the earlier one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind
That's
of
not
thick.
it's not the large print version by chance, is it?
No, actually, it's about medium. It's not small print either, so it's okay. It's good. I can read as an old guy. I'm okay with that. India has a lot of more models. You can look at through, kind of
Oh, okay, good.
handle of that because that's really. When I look at it, I was mesmerized by all the information
It's
there. So
fat.
when I deal with them, yeah. Anyway, okay,
All
back
right.
to you.
Thank you. With that, I give the timer report now or later?
It's your call.
Well, I'm gonna give
I would.
Who's the Toastmaster?
me.
You decide. You're the one running the
When does
meeting.
the timing report come in? During the general evaluation?
Looks like they come in after the general
Yeah, it'll
evaluation.
be later. Yep.
After the evaluations?
Evaluation. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Well, then I'm just gonna sit on those numbers. All right.
Okay.
Then with that, I'm going to hand it over to our table topics master, which happens to be Ying Ming tonight.
Okay. Since you were looking for speakers, so I just decided to jump in because I know you guys will be mesmerized by
We were. Thank you.
that.
We're not wrong.
Okay. Now, questions. I'm not going to ask Bill because he just gave a speech, but I'm going to ask each one of you a question. First question. We saw the division change of the different district. What is your plan for next year at your position? Sherry.
Thank you for that question. I am excited to be the District 206 Division A director, which is going to be the current Division F will become Division A in 206.
Okay.
I'm excited to be stretching my wings and moving up in Toastmasters and learning new things. I've been asking a lot of questions and really trying to take on not just new responsibility, but new understanding of what happens in the background, things that we don't get to see necessarily at the club level. And I'm excited to continue to develop as a leader, as a district leader and a division director next year. That's what I'm excited about.
Great.
And
And
see how I can help continue to grow our clubs.
great. So you get to work with Greg, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So he's going to be what, program quality director or what?
Program quality.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Well, also the good thing about redistrict is you get to meet other people or learn from other people. So it's kind of different. Gavin, I'm going to ask you the same question. What's your plan this coming year?
Well, I am currently serving as co-president of my home club, Ventura Toastmasters, with my dear friend Lucas Hollifield. That's been going really well. We've been doing it since January, and we're going to continue all the way to the end of this calendar year, I believe. And, we're shooting for select distinguished for the club. And we just need to add one more member, and then we'll be at that. And I'm also working on getting my DTM, as is Bill. I believe with Jim Kearney mentoring both of us. And that's been going really well. And my DTM project is going really well. I'm thinking I might wind down some of this stuff this summer. And I have the application already partially filled out. So I'm really looking forward to that and staying active. I have a couple other clubs, Pathfinders and AI and Membership Masters. And those have gone really well for me, and I'm looking forward to continuing with them. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to the redistricting. Thank you.
Thank you. So which are you in the same district, 206 or 203 or 202?
I'm in
Which
the
club?
old
Which club are you in?
my home club is in Division B from the old District 33.
That'll be 202, right?
I am not sure.
Jerry, is that right? I think it's moving
I
to
believe so.
202.
I think B and D are going to 202.
Okay.
Um,
So before I jump in, Bill, why don't I ask you the same question? What do you plan for next year, for this coming year,
Well,
Toastmaster?
thank you very much for asking the same question because I've been rehearsing in my mind. I don't have to worry about my goals are these. First thing is I need to find a strategy, an effective strategy for building membership at Stellar Toastmasters, our bilingual club. That is on my mind pretty much always. And I want to say publicly to Jerry Morrow that I encountered an epiphany in one of our other encounters that with her and with her husband Greg, that illustrates the issues you were talking about in your speech tonight. And so now I have better tools to confront that problem. But I want to definitely see Stellar Toastmasters persist and succeed. I am also, as Gavin mentioned, working on my DTM. That is just a matter of doing the process, and I will get it eventually. And I want to stay close to the other clubs that I'm involved in. there is a real benefit to being involved at the club level. And then perhaps if I can figure out how to manage my time appropriately, maybe I'll take on a higher office. I mentioned to Gavin, I'll be Sergeant of Arms next year for DTM Club, but there's a possibility that at some point I may take a higher office. Maybe not this coming cycle, but some cycle in the future I might do that. And we'll see how that works out.
Thank you, Bill. So your Stellar Club is also in Division F, right?
Yes, and
So that
so is
means
Rise, I believe.
it's
All of
moving.
them are going to move to 206, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm done with the tabletop session. I'm going to turn the control to Gavin. I guess run the committee report now. Gavin.
Okay, so committee reports. On here on my agenda, I have coaching, DTM project, membership club sponsor, mentor. Are any of the three of you affiliated with any of those? Yes, Bill.
Yeah, my activity includes developing a club coach and club mentor training program. Our third session is scheduled for Saturday, the 23rd of May, right after the club officer training course that morning. That is pretty well organized now. We've overcome a couple of bumps in the road, but it's going to be fine. So we will conclude it with the third session. Then I will describe what we did and how we did it and the problems we faced and how we overcame them. The question then is to secure a list of everyone who has participated in those courses. Yumi Sprague has that and is willing to provide that to me, and I will probably give that to Gavin, and we can have a core of trained people to assist clubs either as extension or retention. And that, I think, is a worthwhile activity, frankly. It's kind of important right now for Toastmasters.
Okay, excellent. Bill, that sounds very ambitious. And let me see. Does anyone else have anything else they would like to say about this? Okay. Um, it's looking like we won't have to do any mentor-mentee reports because Vivian, Jim, and Debbie are all listed here as mentors, and they would give their status reports, but they're not here. But I will say that my DTM project has gone really well so far also. And I know Jim's has as well. I'm sorry, Bill. And Jim is mentoring both of us, and I really feel like his guidance is very much appreciated. Bill
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking Bill was talking a little bit about his club coach workshop, and I went to the first one and I really liked it. And my project is going well too. We're helping, clubs with under 8 members get up to 8. And then we're helping clubs that are eligible for club coaches get them. And then we're helping clubs with 13 to 19 members get to charter strength, which is 20. So because we're not doing the mentor-mentee reports, it's looking like we switch into the evaluation portion. And I will be your GE for the evening. So I want to kick off the first round robin for our first speaker, who was Bill. So I just wanted to say, Bill, I really liked your speech. I thought it was very interesting, and I love the props in your PowerPoint. And I know you had talked to me a lot about how important agriculture is to you and blueberry farming and everything. And I learned a lot. I liked your discussion of pH. I liked how you had the little pH meter. And I just was really interested in that because I really like nature. And I learned about pH when I was in high school at my honors bio class. So I felt like I really connected with you a lot. And I just learned so much about that. And, it makes me think if I have any, agriculture related questions, I can just approach you.
Whatever you want.
Thank you. And all in all, I thought it was a really good speech. And I would now like to call on Sherry for her portion of the round robin evaluation for Bill's speech.
Thank you very much, Gavin. Bill, you had asked for some heckling during this presentation, which was intentional because you were going to be trying to manage interruptions as part of your development as a speaker. And I wanted to say that you handled the interruptions with grace. You were very intentional to speak to the interruptions without getting rattled. It's one thing when you know that the interruptions are coming. I think it's, totally different when you're not expecting it. But you did take the questions at a pace that made sense. You didn't stop in the moment. You were good to finish what you were saying, and then you would redirect to the question that came up. And that's key, right? If someone like interjects and gets in the middle of what you're saying, you always want to finish what you're saying and then come back and address the question that came up. And you did a good job of doing that. And there were even times when sometimes you just kept going. You heard it, but you just kept going because it wasn't relevant. And that's important too. There's going to be background noise. There's going to be the peanut gallery in the background. And you did a good job of discerning questions that were relevant that needed to be answered and questions that were just sound bites that are going to happen. And you need to know when to let them go and when to address it. And sometimes that's the hardest part because when you're a speaker, you want to go, wait, I'm sorry, what? Because if somebody has a question, you don't want to miss it. But you did a great job of knowing when to stop and when to keep going. There was a few slides that were really, really busy. So as you continue to develop your presentation skills, I want to challenge you to think in bullets and use the slides as prompting and not as something to read. So that is probably the best layup I want to give you to challenge yourself is as you're building slides. And that's something too that you can put into an AI tool that says, help me reduce the number of words on the slides, and it can help put it in bullet form for you.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's my turn, huh?
Yes.
Bill, there was interesting speech. I feel being left out because nobody asked me to interrupt. I kind of figured out. A way because I looked at the project. I said, "Oh, okay. I better ask some questions along the way because I noticed that Gavin and Sherry start talking real quickly." I said, "That's not good accuracy." But in the meantime, I said, "Oh, that's the reason for that." Anyway, yeah, you give a pretty good explanation about. The pH, and I also showed us a few things about that. So was able to squeeze them into the time you got. That was very good. And so overall, good speech, very nicely done. Back to you, Gavin.
Thank you, Wing Ming.
Um, thank you all. Bill, I very much enjoyed your speech, and now I would like to transition over to the round robin for Ying Ming's speech. And I would like to start, and I would like to say, Ying Ming, I very much liked your speech. I really liked the PowerPoint. I thought it was very professional. And I liked how you talked about cultural conditioning. And I liked the triangle, the Lewis model that you displayed. And I thought that you were very interactive because you just said, I'm going to have this slide up and I'm going to let people ask questions. So I felt like you really included the audience very well in your speech. And I just learned a lot from it. And I want to look at some of this stuff up at a later time. And it was just so educational. And it kind of reminded me of being back in school at college. So I really liked it, and um, I took some notes also because I thought it was very intriguing. Who would like to go next to evaluate Ying Ming?
Okay, Bill.
Bill.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm grateful to you, Yang Ming, for bringing this subject to my attention in the way that you did. I have encountered this feature of cultural diversity many times in my life, and I didn't have any words for it. And now I found there's an expert who's written about it. So I've written down the name of the book and the author, and I will get it and I will review that. It's interesting to me that the relationship for multitasking in the Hispanic part of our world kind of coincides with that of the Arab culture in another part of the world. I've been in both parts of the world. I've been in Morocco and Egypt, and I've been in many parts of Latin America. And in the beginning, when I first started introducing myself to that, and I should have been more I guess, versatile with this, but I found people that I thought they were not telling the perpendicular truth, and that annoyed me. And then I had a conversation with my mother, who was a Colombian, and she told me, no, what they're trying to do is to put you at your ease and tell you what they think you want to hear. And I didn't think that I don't care what people think I want to hear. I want to know. I want to know what this real thing is. And now I want to research this a little better because I think that's going to be very important for me in the future. Very much enjoyed your speech. It was well executed. I don't have many criticisms. The only thing I would like to see is perhaps a longer speech where you have a short video that illustrates some of these differences. If you could, display people displaying these different, multitasking versus, one thing at a time. I'm going to have to ask my sisters-in-law, who are also Colombians, because they've married and live in Germany now, and I wonder how that I wonder how that works out.
It's totally different culture. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
there's
if
an
you just go
opportunity
out,
there to learn a lot.
if you go out to YouTube, search for the Japanese the metro etiquette, you will
Okay,
find they
all
are
right,
they
I'll
are
look at
really
that.
really. I saw somewhere, but I don't remember what they call them. But how they are very courtesy to each other, and they are not allowed to making phone calls or talk to people as unnamed rules.
I will look for that. Can I ask you a question? What is the etiquette in Japan for when you're in a group of people together to be looking at your cell phone, communicating another message to
Nope.
somebody?
They will try. What depends on age group. Remember, we talk about culture, then age group also start changing, right? With age group Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and Millennial and Alpha, they'll run things a little differently. So you have to kind of put that into into the
Yes,
thinking part.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I think yeah, take a look at that one. At least I give you some ideas of how they handle things, and I think they follow rules very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
Sherry, I guess you haven't given me the feedback yet.
First of all, you're as you had suspected, the content was absolutely fascinating and a little mind blowing. So thank you for putting yourself on the agenda with this speech. I was almost beside myself because you started speaking and there was no presentation at the beginning. And I kind of went, he's going to give a speech without a presentation. And I'm waiting for it and I'm waiting for it. So I want to give you props because you waited, you gave your introduction and you got us hooked and then you put it up and it was so effective because we got to see you full face before you went to the presentation. And that was so effective. And it's different than how you usually just throw up your slide. So props for that because it made a difference. It really did make a
Somebody
difference
told me that. I had a
in
feedback from
format.
them.
It really did make a difference. I want to tell you. And the other thing is, I saw you. There were several slides where you weren't reading the whole slide, and I can tell you've been working on that. But then you slipped back in and you started reading the slide. So I want to give you credit for being intentional to try to summarize the slide instead of read the slide because I can see that you're trying to transition to that and give the same comment that I gave to Bill, maybe drop it into an AI tool that says put this in bullets so you don't have that option to read the whole thing unless it's a quote. If you have a quote that you want the audience to have, then put it in quotes and like you did for the Lewis model, say I'm going to give you a chance to read this and then talk about it. That way you're not reading to adults who don't need to be read to. You know what I mean? Like you have great content, but on those slides, use them as a prop, not as a crutch. There's a difference. But great, amazing. As always, you're a phenomenal presenter. So thank you again. Gavin, back to you.
Oh, okay. So this concludes the evaluation section of the meeting. And Sherry, as our timer, was everyone within time for the whole session?
Everyone was within time. Bill, your total time was 15 minutes and 40 seconds for the two times together, your two portions together. So you went over just tick with your extended time, but it was kind of hard to tell when to stop and when to start again. I think if I would have had a better understanding of when to flip it, it might have been closer to the real time. And I wasn't sure if you needed the auditory with your because you're on your laptop.
Yes.
So wasn't sure if you could see the timing slides when you were in presentation mode. So between the heckling, I'm not sure if you heard your color slides or not.
I did acknowledge in my mind the color slides a little bit, but I was focused on what I was saying.
Right. So that's part of it. And then otherwise, Yingming was at 10:12 and the table topics were all within between 1 and 2 minutes.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that report, Sherry. Now, our normal VPE is Mary Olson, but she told me that she could not attend tonight, and so she wants me to ask everyone here what role they would be interested in next month. So Bill, I will start with you. What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking about it, but frankly, if you need a speaker, I can do that again.
What will
Or
the
I
date?
can be, go ahead.
I'm trying to see what the date will be.
I don't know.
Is it the
June
second?
12th.
That's okay, the 12th.
Yeah. That's one possibility, or if you wish, I could be any general evaluator or an evaluator or table topics.
Okay, well, I have Mary Olison as one of the speakers.
In that case, I
Um,
can be the timer. I can be the timer if you need one.
If you want me to be an evaluator, I can do that.
okay, and Sherry, what about you?
I'm gonna try general evaluator in this club. I haven't done that yet. Is this the one where you ask questions about the speeches usually?
Um, this one, it looks like you basically just run the evaluation segment, so you introduce all the evaluators.
Okay. And do you give a evaluation of the meeting usually?
It says on my agenda that the presiding officer basically does that.
Okay. So, well, then there's not, that's pretty easy then. Okay, I'll be a
Well, you
general.
you still can do it. I mean,
I'm
you still can evaluate
I'm
the
feeling
meeting
like
if
clubs
nobody
can.
else.
I'll do table topics. Did somebody sign up for table topics?
No, we do not have anyone.
All right, I'll do table topics.
Okay, so Bill, I have you down as an evaluator. Ying Ming, I have you down as a timer, and Sherry, I have you down as table topics.
And then is the theme already picked out?
No, and I'm gonna be probably talking about it with Mary, but does anyone have any ideas? Maybe we could keep the theme as elections because we haven't done any.
Push it.
That seems like a good idea.
And I'm gonna get hold of Jim about all this also, see what he has to say about the elections.
Sounds good.
And I don't think we will be having an officers meeting tonight because Jim isn't here. And our next meeting will be the 12th of June. And I wanted to thank you all for coming. And does anyone have anything else they want to say? We're running about 20 minutes early.
I got nothing. I'm gonna reach out to the new 206 trio and start to plant a seed about getting a project for me for next year. I'm heading into level 4 of my second pathway, and I've done a speechcraft already. So I just need a project and to mentor or sponsor a club, mentor, sponsor, or coach a club. So I'm going to reach out to 206 and see if they can start thinking about a project for me in the new era.
Uh, Well, that sounds good. And Bill, I wanted to let you know after we're done with this, I'm going to be uploading this video to YouTube. And then on our free Toast site, there's a little tab that says Club News. And what Jim and I have been doing is we just put the YouTube video for each month under news in case anyone is curious.
Okay, I'll mention that to Vivian. She wanted to get it.
Okay, good. Yes. Would you be able to do that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I can reach out to her.
Okay, yeah, it takes a little while to upload, but I'm gonna be doing that this evening.
Okay. I'll probably deal with that over the weekend.
Okay, that sounds good. Um, Ying Ming, is there anything that you would want to say?
No,
Okay, well, I will see you all next month. Hopefully, Jim will be able to join us.
Thank you for your leadership, Gavin. Appreciate it.
Yes.
It's my pleasure.
See
Gary,
you.
is a District 206 including Sacramento?
Yes,
Oh,
Sacramento.
wow.
Does that go all the way to the Oregon border?
Very close to it, Reading.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting. So Sacramento has a lot of population also, right?
Yeah, very dense. Very, very dense.
Okay.
Okay, well, I will sign us off, and I'm very
Thanks.
much looking forward to next month.
See you guys.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you.
Enjoyed this.
Oh, me also. Excellent speeches.
Best wishes.
Thank you. You as well.